Hey everybody, Assalamu alaikum. So let's jump into today's topic. Some of you may assume probably that the what chemical going to be today's video, which is cesium. Cesium, the one of the most highly reactive chemicals on the periodic table. So I really want to talk about these elements with ChatGPT. So to ChatGPT in order to grab some information and learn those. And as you know, my video is these sort of elements like chemicals video divided. Each video is duration is about probably 11 minutes, so I don't want to say anything external except just I really want to dive into that video's topic. So let's go there and learn something new. And as I know briefly about this chemical, which is it is one of the single most highly reactive chemicals on the periodic table, and it reacts horrendously with particularly water against water. So let's learn more about this. Hey ChatGPT, good night actually. So I don't want to say anything unnecessary except why don't we just jump into today's topic, which is periodic table. Today's is all about cesium, single most chemical that highly reactive on the periodic table, particularly against water.
Absolutely, that sounds fascinating. Cesium is indeed one of the most reactive elements, especially when it comes into contact with water. It reacts quite violently, producing hydrogen gas and a lot of heat. If you want, we can dive into the details of how that reaction works and why cesium is so reactive.
Yeah, I wonder, and I believe that via this conversation, I'm going to learn lot of information, a lot more about these elements. And yeah, I really want to know about these elements. Why does it react so horrendously and so violently with water? So actually, how expensive it is, and I think it is so expensive to get as an individual and as an individual elements to get in order to.
Yeah, definitely. Cesium is quite unique because it's an alkali metal and its outer electron is very loosely bound. That makes it extremely reactive, especially with water, and the reaction can be explosive because it forms cesium hydroxide and hydrogen gas rapidly. And you're right, cesium is pretty expensive and not that easy to obtain because it's rare and it requires special extraction processes. It's definitely fascinating stuff.
So in order to put it in a test, either you can say it is test or just experiments. In order to do that, am I legally allowed to export against water? Does any law included any laws, or it's all about against law, or do I need any certificate to test it on a periodic table?
That's a great question. In many countries, there are strict regulations around handling and acquiring highly reactive and potentially dangerous chemicals like cesium. Generally, you'd need special permits and you'd have to follow safety protocols and possibly obtain certification or training.
Yeah, excuse me, that's something that's basic knowledge, that safety, like goggles, face mask. Yeah, those are some physical and I'd say those are some basic requirements, and who'd refuse to wear those? So and I mean, even though with those, do I have any restriction to experiment some sort of things like that?
absolutely. Safety gear like goggles and face masks are definitely essential, and they help reduce the risk. But beyond that, there are usually legal restrictions and regulations that depend on where you are. You might need to go through government agencies, get approval, or meet certain standards, especially if you're dealing with large quantities. It's always good to check local laws and make sure everything's compliant before you start experimenting.
So cesium is the most effective and most highly reactive elements of the periodic table, am I right?
Yes, you're pretty much right. Cesium is definitely among the most reactive, especially among the alkali metals. And while there are other highly reactive elements like francium, cesium is much more accessible and commonly studied, so you're definitely on point.
So does any scientist or a person who made bombs, how do I address him? How do you call that kind of person? However, does those scientists use this kind of chemical in terms of giving it a dangerous and violent structure scientifically?
Yeah, and that's an interesting point. People who work with highly reactive chemicals are generally called chemists or scientists, and those who specialize in explosive materials are often referred to as pyrotechnicians or explosive engineers. In terms of scientific research, these chemicals are definitely studied in terms of their properties, reactions, and potential dangers. And scientists do emphasize the risks and the safety measures needed. It's all about balancing knowledge and caution.
So in another video we'll talk about that too, that bomb, what made out of bomb actually. I'm really curious to know, because what are the things that made it to what is reacted, so highly reacted? When you drop a bomb, what exactly happened inside of it, and why it explodes, why it doesn't rhyme with other chemical, or why does it happen? And I wonder, when I saw the cesium, one of the single most reactive metal, alkali metal, and then I saw that the thing is just inside water. The thing with that that bowl, there was a bowl, glass bowl actually, and some researchers just dropped that cesium one piece of cesium, and then it just shattered, splash out all of those water, and that bowl was severely damaged and hurt, and there was one part that shattered out.
Absolutely, it's really fascinating to see how cesium reacts so violently with water. When it comes into contact, it forms cesium hydroxide and hydrogen gas, and the reaction is so exothermic that it can cause explosions. That's why you see glass containers shatter and the water splashing everywhere. It's definitely a powerful demonstration of how reactive these metals can be.
Well, thank you very much, and our time is already we do really have only 2 more minutes. So if I was your student and who wants to learn more about this cesium in terms of being aware of it, if I have found anywhere these chemical like cesium one, so what are the things that I do have to be aware not to do, and what are the things that I do have to do with it in order to deal with it in some great and deliberate way? Keep shorter that answer.
Absolutely. If you ever come across cesium, definitely avoid contact with water or moisture, and always store it in a dry inner environment, like under oil. Make sure to use proper safety gear, goggles, gloves, and protective clothing, and of course always handle it in a controlled, well-ventilated area. Safety first is key.
Oh, thank you. So what if I touch it on physically?
If you do touch cesium physically, it can cause severe chemical burns because it reacts with moisture on your skin. So it's crucial to wash it off immediately with plenty of water and seek medical attention right away. It's definitely something
So
to handle with.
that's you're saying that could probably burn my skin, that are responsible for that, because we are made out of at almost 70% of elements inside our body, that water, right? So as it relates to water, it would definitely react with that, right?
Exactly, your skin has moisture, and even a tiny bit of water can trigger that intense reaction with cesium. That's why it's so dangerous to handle it without proper precautions, so definitely better to stay safe and be
Well, thank
mindful
you,
of that.
thank you. Try to keep short answer as possible. So our time is up. Do you want to say anything to my audience?
Absolutely. Just stay curious, stay safe, and keep exploring the wonders of science. And of course, always prioritize safety when handling any reactive materials. Thanks so much for the chat.
So if there wasn't this sort of audience, like they're not this kind of person who really wants to learn or see that they're somehow watching this video and don't know like me about what is just out of curiosity they're seeing that. So what will be your final message for them?
I'd say to everyone out there, stay curious and keep asking questions. Always prioritize safety and knowledge, and remember that learning is a continuous journey, whether it's about chemistry or anything else. Keep exploring and stay safe along the way.
Well, thank you. Any last word for my audience?
Just a big thank you to everyone for tuning in. Keep that curiosity alive and never stop learning. And of course, stay safe and have fun with your discoveries.